Okay guys, welcome to my channel, my very first video. I just thought I'd start out with showing you my test bay and charge bay for 18650 batteries, and I have a few examples here to show you and just some stuff I salvaged and stuff. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you up on my little stand, and then hopefully this is going to work. Now, let's hope for the best. Now, so basically what I've done here is I have some old laptops, and I've gone ahead and I've salvaged some of the batteries. These are some of the batteries out of laptops. Here's some that I've actually tested, charged, and if they're dead, I've put them here in this pile. And I'm going to show you everything that I can and some of the uses of 18650 batteries that are basically thrown out every day. And these have a very long shelf life. And some of them are better quality than others, but you can mix and match capacities and voltage and etc. And you can make a very good battery pack. Being an example like something like this. Just to show you one of these, this is just a practical use. I can charge my phone fast charge with a torch 8 or 10 times, even smartphone. And one of the handy things that you can do with stuff like this is it's a little heavy, but it's very practical, very useful. These little battery packs, China, AliExpress, you can get them on Amazon as well. Not expensive, about 20 euros for something like this sent to you. I'll just put it back together and I'll show you the next bit. So like, that's that. This has charge, wireless charge on it. It tells you the capacity. It tells you if it goes fast or normal charge. It has micro USB, the firewire connection for the Apple, Type C, and that's the Apple connection, but it actually works. Both of these are pretty much the same. You can go fast charge and normal charge. So you have two USBs can be used at the same time. The torch is handy on it, especially if you're into camping and stuff like this. This would last you most of your camping trip if you weren't charging too many devices. But just for an example, with something like this, I have this little solar panel, not expensive, and it's a Type C, and I can physically connect that in. And believe it or not, that will actually charge under most lights. Like for example, now if I do this, and I hold it up against one of the lights pretty closely, it should start to charge, but it's going to make a liar out of me. But most light, it'll actually charge. Oh, okay. I have another one. And just for the record, if you want to see what they are, so it's like 8 watt, 5 volts, 1.6 amp maximum current, open circuit voltage 6 volts, short circuit voltage 1.9 amps, etc. But just try this one on as well. I had this working under my other bench, but these are all new lights that I've set up just to try and do this example video. So let's try this. No. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. We are actually getting it charging, believe it or not. Let's see, can we get it to do it again? 1 sec. Added. Yeah, for a brief second, just for the record, it says in. Let me try it on this one. Yeah, it's working away. So that's even under lights inside, so you could be in an office or anywhere and you could still be charging your item. But something like that would charge that in 16 hours, something like that. So anyway, this little example of usefuls. Now, let's get stuck in to actually recovering some of these batteries and showing you how to do it. Right, so Patrick Williams, thank you very much for his little side cutters. I have something similar. These are brilliant for this. Actually, kind of a necessity. You could use something like this, a little bit cheaper, but it's a little bit harder to get to the top of the battery contacts. But I'm going to show you how to do this now. So I have this little reciprocal saw, and I'm going to butcher this. Oh, safety first, 1 second, and I'll show you. Okay, so just in case something happens, bad example, but a metal bucket, sand or gravel, sand and gravel. If there's something goes wrong, one of the batteries starts to sizzle or whatever, you need to throw it into your bucket and get it outside. Not water, sand, and get it outside and don't breathe in the fumes, right? That's worst case scenario. Hasn't happened to me yet, but just in case. Now, let's get into this. And a little flathead screwdriver. This'll do. Yeah. Get this off. Now, if this was Patrick, he'd have this open in 2 minutes. But we're trying to rescue the stuff. Patrick is just trying to get some valuable copper and etc. out of it. Yeah. Usually when you get these started, they'll come. Try not to pierce the batteries. As I said, if it happens, throw it into your metal bucket and get it outside. Now, and just for the record, you think that there's more batteries in most of these, they give the size, but you're either going to have blanks, or in some cases, like, have a look at this, this was one of those little power bank jobbies from Wish or something like this. Customer gave me this to try and fix, but in this, you just had these and one battery, and it's meant to be 5,000 milliampere hours, and that's probably about a 2,000 at best. But all that's in these, so you're just putting waves into them. So in a lot of these cases, right, all you get is some sort of a sand or something, just to show you. And what that is actually, it's kind of like a brick, just for a little bit of weight, just to make it feel like there was actually batteries in it. Now these aren't fantastic quality ones, but let's see. Have a look for yourself. Anyway, so let's just clear this down a little bit. So this is where our little snips come in. These are usually spot welded on, if you see them. Now, all I do, grab a piece of the metal, pull and snip. Now I grab the metal and I just pull it off as best I can. Right? Patrick would be asking me now to keep that silver. It's actually tin and copper. So there you go. There's one. Little bit of glue and spacer between them. In some cases you can just pull them and it comes away. So we do the same with this one. Now, a good one of these to be bought from China, it's very hard to get the decent quality ones, but you could pay anything from €4 to 10. Generally the ones that are found in the laptops, fairly decent quality, especially if the laptop was of like Dell or something like that. Only the Japanese ones are probably the best. So, now, electronic boards and bits and pieces. Normally put these into recycling e-waste. Now, so basically you now have 4 batteries. What you do then, you get yourself a multimeter and you can just test your voltage. Flat side, minus, top side, plus. And you actually have 25 millivolts. So she's probably dead, but let me get into that in a second. 32.8 millivolts. 48 millivolts. Self-discharged, I'd imagine. 58 millivolts. Okay. Now, so let me show you a little trick. So these are probably dead, but what we can do is, if I can find it, there we go. So here's a little kit that you can get from Amazon. It was about €30 for this. You got about 16, 17. It was these little battery holders and some pretty decent quality chargers. They're the ones I showed you up here. These do 3-stage charge. You can look these up. Just look for 18650 battery chargers. But you can actually group these together and actually get higher ampage and different things. But these are great for charging the batteries. Very cheap, works out well. You don't have to be an expert because there's hundreds of videos online of lads using these. I might get into it on a later stage. So, now, so what I'll do, I'll take a known good battery. Doesn't matter what one. These are all ones that I got prepared earlier and I've tested. So basically once you get them tested and you get them charged, you mark your voltages on them and you leave them for about 2 weeks to see if they've dropped. If they stay somewhere around 4, so then they're probably good. If they were say at 4.12, and it goes down to, you know, a 3.6 or something like that, maybe even a little bit less, you have a problem. So you can gauge that for yourself. And what I usually do with the ones that drop it dramatically, I leave them aside in a secondary box, something like this, and I come back to them a few weeks later and see if they've discharged more. But the ones that hold the charge generally are good about 2 weeks later. So anyway, take a known good battery and I simply put it into this little 18650 battery holder. Now, and we'll just test to see that we actually have voltage. Exactly 4.43 volts, 0.43 volts. Now, so all I'll do with this is red plus, so plus to plus, minus to minus. Now, I'll hold that on that for maybe a minute, less sometimes. And what you're basically doing then is you're spiking the battery to get a little bit of power into it, and to see then if she goes up enough that she'll actually read on your multimeter, and then you can take your next steps. So that's her. Now, it's not even a minute, but just see. And we have gone up to 1.36 volts. So now, there's many different types of battery chargers you can get. As I said, you can see these hobbyist ones, which I've set up here using a PC power supply, feeding 5 volts into that. You can set this up, but you can buy many of these. Some of these, this one was about 15 euros. This one was about 20 euros for 6. This one was about 25. It's POWXS, POWXS. This one's pretty decent, wasn't too expensive, but what I like about this one is it actually does capacity test on one of them. Handy. So, drop it in, and because we've managed to get it up to 1.26 volts, she starts to charge. So that battery is probably fine, even though it had no voltage. Now, if you put that into most normal chargers with that low milliamp voltage, it may not charge. So these hobbyist ones, they're pretty good for bringing back a very bad low voltage battery. Now, it's said that them sitting at less than 1.5 volts can damage them, but I've done some tests on them over the years, and generally when you find one in that good a condition, right, from a decent manufacturer, it only loses a small bit of capacity. Everything else comes back right. So give this, for example, you either need to spike this, but if we put it in without spiking it, that one will actually begin to charge. But that's because that's one of my better chargers. But if it doesn't come on when you're doing this, oh sorry, on some of these ones, once it's under 1.5, it'll only charge this to 1.5. So again, back to doing our spike. Now it'll charge it to 4.5 because that one does many different batteries. So let's spike it again. You just need about 30 seconds, 1 minute. Now, if the battery begins to get hot, either your donor battery to give it to dump its charge, or this one, 50-50 whether you should throw it away. I've had some success with them, but personally, if you have enough of them and you're not trying to like recover a scooter battery and you're really stuck for the battery and you can't get equivalent ones, then if it gets hot, normally if you can, just throw it away. All right, dispose of it in wee. Right. .26. Now she'll charge to 4 on that charger. So we'll do exactly the same thing, and we are getting 0.8 volts. So let's give it a charge. And when you think about it, there's so many uses for good rechargeable batteries. Most of these are about 1.5 amp out to 2 amps. Some are a little bit better, drill batteries, etc. But you can always say it's around 1 amp. So if you work that out, you can pretty much charge anything with them. Run anything. Now, let's try that one. 1.9492. So, same story. Doesn't need long. Just if anyone wants to look up what these capacity and the rest of these are, and the chemistry. Now, try this one. Oh, it's a little more, yeah, 1.97. All 4 of them are going to charge. Perfect. Now, take this out. There. And we'll just test this one again, just to see what she lost after spiking 4 batteries. 3.975. Yeah, didn't even lose much. For argument's sake, I always put that one then back onto charge. So, just for the sake of the camera, I'll just put it onto this one. And she's now charging at 1 amp. Most of these charge when you're doing them for the first time. You want to do them at about 500 milliamps, so half an amp. For the first time, especially if they've been dead and asleep for a long time, don't overdose them with the power. They do get, you are spiking it with a little bit higher current, but you need to do that to wake them back up. After that, then a nice slow charge. So, now, I don't think we need to open any of these because I have enough of them done, but just to show you some of the examples of stuff that they use, they can be used in. This is a little vape pen that I've got, and there's 2 recovered batteries. They were from a dead scooter battery pack. They're pretty high ampage. Normally you spend about 15-20 euros on buying these in any of the vape shops. They're probably actually better. And that's her. I vape, and I get a little bit of anxiety overcharging them and etc. So something like this lasts me maybe 2 days without charging it. Has a distinct advantage in my opinion. A little bit heavier. It's also harder to lose though. So and with these mods you can change the strength of them and etc. This one goes all the way up to pretty high. 200 watts. If you do that with that coil, you're going to poison yourself. But anyway, I usually have set this around 16. And that's 16, 17. It depends on your taste. But the advantage being that, like, stressful situation, you need to smoke more, you're on your vape, you can knock it up 10 watts, take a good hit and then drop it back down. Gives you the same experience as if you were smoking a cigarette. So, now, so just some of the things. There's some of the batteries that you can get out of. This was out of some little clock or something like this that I salvaged, and 3.6 nominal voltage, 32,000 milliamp, 11.5 watt hours, right? But something like that, very useful. Yeah. Let's see. Here's just some more of the other little battery packs I have. I've kind of got a lot of these, but like that was one picked up. Normally pretty expensive, but it was in TK Maxx. I like that one because it's able to do things that let's charge this. So 46%. This one gives you your voltage and your watts out. Kind of handy. This is fast charge. But this will only charge, even though it's a 2000 milliampere hour, and I've tested it's pretty close. This will actually only charge your phone maybe twice, one of our new smartphones. So useful, and it will do fast charge, but 2 charges if you're heading away somewhere, maybe enough. So that's just some of the stuff you can get. Let me see. Right, so tell you what, let's make this work. This belongs to the sister-in-law, and she quite likes it. I fixed this up for her before for EP about 2 years ago. So all of these are tested. Right, so let's just put in some batteries. This is how simple it is. You buy a little thing like this. Sorry, springs minus the little pop out bits plus. Now be careful of these, because if you put these in the wrong way, it'll mostly smoke. Now it won't go on fire, but what actually happens is these little springs kind of overheat. They turn into like a coil, like a little element, and they kind of shrink in. Not overly dangerous unless you do the whole thing wrong. Even at that, little bit of pixies and a little bit of smoke, and people get worried, but it's fine. Now, so there you go. We'll get the little cover for it. That's it. There's normally a few screws for it, but that's the little pack. Now that's reading wrong. They often do that. Let me see, where have I got? There we go. So this little one tells me it's 5 volts at 3 amps. And that'll charge away, but that will actually, usually with these little packs that come, you think there's something wrong even though they were fully charged. Charge them up and down 2 or 3 times, and then it'll give a true indication of your 100% and etc. But with those batteries that have been put into that, you're probably going to get, on this one, I mean, it's saying the capacity is 5,000 milliampere hours, but to be honest, like, look, I'd work that out being about 5 times charging a smartphone or a tablet. Still useful because your heavier duty ones, like fast charge is something you need. So like, here's my Samsung A8 tablet. %, and that is fast charge. Right, now it depends on your lead as well, but I'll charge that in about an hour. So slow charger is not a problem either. And then this can go anywhere with you, so it makes your mobile, kids, etc. Keep them happy. Now, what else can I show you? We see these being tested. Some of these have already got up to 99%. Let's have a look at the mode of it. Slot 1, 99%. 2.85 volts. Slot 3, 2.89 volts. Slot 4, saying 99%. 4.2. Now I've seen that before, where it's asleep, it's not showing voltage, yet the minute you charge it just for a couple of minutes, it's back up to 4.2. That tells me with these batteries are nearly perfect. So they could be used for anything. Now I want to show you one other little thing. So when I was using a little side cutter like this, or like this, or the other little red one that I showed you, this, you can't really get these little spurs off, right? And that can make you a little bit complicated for working on them. So what I do is I just have a little Dremel, and with a little stone bit on it, and this is all I do. Nice shiny surface flat if we ever want to spot weld onto it again. It only takes a second. I found that to be the handiest way of doing it. So now, back in my box. So yeah, 18650. Look, here's a little lamp. Touch button. And all that's wrong with this one, in my opinion, is this little battery has gone nearly dead. This is a fantastic little tool. Army splicer on Carlo. Let's see what voltage it is. Yep. Dead. So now, we can do exactly the same thing. Just test the voltage of my test battery, 4.14. Yeah. Plus red, minus black. So minus to minus, plus to plus. And we're just spiking it, we're just draining some of the power from this little battery into this little dead battery. And this is it's basically, in this you're going to have two 18650 batteries spot welded together, right? So just you have a higher capacity, they're not up in the voltage, so it's still only 3.7 nominal. So now you leave that on for a couple of seconds. It's so low that the little charging circuit in this, which is this mini USB, just can't read it, can't recognize it, can't bring it up, can't do anything. So what happens is, with 18650 batteries and any lithium ion batteries of any description, or this lithium phosphate, if they sit, they can self-discharge. You have to charge them a little bit. So even in your Hoovers and your Dysons and your different bits, you need to charge them even if you're not using them periodically. If you don't, the batteries go unbalanced and or drop below a nominal voltage, and the little chargers just won't charge them. They reckon there's a fault. But normally, if you can give them a little bit of a spike of power, they will come back. So we'll give this a chance now. So let's see what the voltage is. It's gone up to 2.28 now. If I am correct, and forgive me, I have a bit of a cold, but I promised Patrick I would do a video without fail. He was having great fun with my trailer of 20-year-old boards and different wire and copper. I couldn't see it go to wee and be shredded. It was nice to see it going to Patrick, fueling his hobby and his followers. So let's have a look at this. Yeah. Will it come on? No, not yet. But will it charge? Indication light. That's pretty good. Might need to give it a bit more voltage. Okay. Let's cheat. Do you want to make a device last longer? Add more batteries. Now look, if you're not confident doing stuff like this, I've been at this for years. Be careful, don't mix up minus and positive, but you're talking about very low voltages here. It's 3 to 4 volts. It's not going to do any harm. Be careful though with scooter batteries. Yeah. Do we get anything? Nope. Leave that for a couple of minutes. Might spike it. So that was just a little kind of a lamp, a little LED lamp. I don't get that going yet. Leave it on. Now, I think that's enough for my first video. If you'd like to know more about some of this stuff that we do, and we also fix washing machines and everything else, what I might do is just give you a quick glance of our workshop. So, that's our test bay. That's all our little bits and pieces. That's my toolbox. Some of the little projects that I'm working on. There's one little thing, if you'd like to do it. I want to change this. This has got a gel acid battery in it, and has a little compressor on it. We're going to modify that with its own BMS with the 18650s, if you'd like to see that done. And we're going to change the bulb as well. It's a nice little LED, and that's quite old. There we go. If you'd like to see that, give us a shout. Let's see. These are some of the washing machines. Ooh, bad view. These are some of the washing machines that we do. It's a Bosch heat pump dryer. They give a lot of trouble, any of these heat pumps. It's really a bad idea. It's a shame they've banned them. Banned normal dryers. Here's a little surprise view of our fixie-uppy bitties. And you can see the workshop in its sins, and our bits and pieces. Patrick could have a field day in here with all the bits and pieces. But I want to show you a little sneak peek of something. See this little thing? Can anyone figure out what I'm doing with this? A whole lot of washing machine parts. We even made the flywheel out of an old washing machine drum. And these are all washing machine motors. Can anyone tell us what we're going to do with this? Full of cement. Now, that's something to see in the future. If you want to see free energy, or energy multiplication, or is it an EMP? Let us know. See if we can make free power out of washing machine motors. Anyway, I'm signing off, and it was nice doing my first video. Hope you join us all again in the future. Thank you.